This video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to show you some ideas that you can use to create your own mechanics in here. So your own traps, your own things within Godot, using some of the tools that are available to you. So as you can see, what I've got here is a little spinning flame thing. And if I can actually get past this area, because it is quite tricky, there is these spinning like spike traps over here. If I can get out of here and past here, there is a swinging rope. So someone asked in the previous video how to do something like this, and I've done something. It's probably not the best way to do it, but if you've ever played like an old game like Jungle Hunt or whatever, then this is kind of those kind of swinging ropes there, and it could definitely be a better way to do it, maybe reducing the amount of speed that you jump off it with. But what I want to do is just show you how these kind of things can be done. So there is some code, but I'm not going to go through every single thing in here. So we'll have a look at this spike trap first, and I'll cover everything that you need, but then you might be able to go, well, actually I could do like falling blocks with that. Similar kind of thing. So this is what I've got here, the spike spitter. And it has just a normal node there. We've got an arrow, so this is part of it. And so essentially what's going to happen is this arrow is going to go across and then reset back to there. Rather than create new instances of arrows at different positions and move them across, I'm just making it all one scene. That way it can be reused throughout without having to make a whole lot of changes to it. The arrow has a sprite, and you'll notice here that the texture has 3 bits, but I've said it's got 3 horizontal frames and 1 vertical frame, and that kind of split it up into 3 things evenly, and then that worked nicely. The collision shape, I've just put it on the end here, so it is quite forgiving. You can jump through this wooden bit. You only get damaged if you touch the spike. Then I've got the spitter sprite, which I reused from part of the trap, but there's no animation on it, so it's just like some holes in the wall that I can put there. And a position 2D there. So this position is going to be where the spike respawns, which is kind of behind that trap. There is a spike end, which is an area. So this is an area 2D, and it has a collision shape. It's quite big, but it doesn't really matter. It's only so that when this collides with this, it's going to kind of reset back to over here. So the code for this, we've got a signal here, and this signal will link to a function in here. So we'll have a look at the code. Oh, and by the way, the arrow is marked as being in the deadly group. So in the spike spitter, what we've got here is pretty simple code. I don't actually need that, so I can delete that. A few variables at the top. On ready variable, arrow equals arrow. We'll just get the reference to that because we'll be using it a bit. And then set an arrow speed, so you could make it faster, slower. In the process, all it does is translate the arrow to the left. Now I can rotate this whole scene within the world scene, and it will still keep the local left. So it's not like the arrow is going to be flying off to the left when I want it to fly up. So I've just said go to the left. If I want it to actually go to the right, I can just rotate the whole scene the other way. I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible so you can be as creative as possible in Godot without a whole lot of code. So this is the bit that this signal links to. If the area that the arrow enters is equal to the arrow, if the area that enters this spike is arrow, so if it's this here, if it's that arrow there, by the way, then arrow.global position equals the position 2d.global position. So it just keeps refreshing, translating to the left, jumping back, translating to the left, jumping back, etc. And because we took care of the player deadly in the previous video 12, I think, then we don't need to do anything else here. That's that part done. Now the spinning flame, if I just run the game again, is it still running? Nope, let's run it. The spinning flame was a little bit more complex to get going. Whoops. Now you could actually use this for anything spinning. So if you wanted to have like platforms on kind of like a Ferris wheel going around, you could do that with the same principle here. Now there is a slight graphics glitch, and I think I know why. with these little flames. Oh, also their animation's not working. I just noticed that. But I'm pretty sure I can fix that. So this here is made up of two scenes. So the first scene is just a single flame. And the single flame has a sprite. It's got an animation player on it. I'll just make that autoplay at the start. So that'll fix that. And then an area 2D with a collision shape. And of course the area 2D is marked as deadly. You touch the flames, you die. Now I did make it roughly the size of the flames. So if I manage to jump through it. Now I thought that I touched it. So let's go back and see if this actually does reset the player. Because maybe I've got another bug. Yeah, it does. Okay, good. I must have just been really pro gamer before. So let's go back into that code. Into here, the single flame. So that's it. So it's got flame, animation player, area 2D with the collision shape, and it's marked as deadly. And the animation player, all that does is it just makes the flame kind of flicker there. So that's it. And I tried to center this deadly bit as best as I could. I could probably use a capsule instead. Ooh, that's not good. Maybe there might be better. And when I hit play, we want it a bit more to the right. There we go. That's good. And now it's kind of not outside. You can jump through that top bit. So that's all good there. I'll save that. Now, the actual spinning flame, this bit here is going to look a little bit different. So what I've got is just a base node, just a node 2D. And then, we'll just close that point for now. I've got 8 different sprites. Now, they're all just bunched up here. It doesn't really matter. And those sprites, are actually this scene. So you can see if I click on that, it loads that scene there. So I've got 8 of those scenes instanced within this scene. And then I've got another 2D node called rotation point. And in there I've got 2D, position 2Ds all around. Now, the cool thing with this is you can scale this in the game, but I'll just show you how I did this. So the rotation points, this was -50, 0. This was 50, 0. That was 0, -0, 50. And then this one here was, if I can get it, find it. That one there was 0, -50. Now, the numbers to get this, it's like, just do a sine wave, but it's roughly 0.7, 0.704 of that. So I just did 0.7 times 50, which worked out to be, I think, 35, roughly. So 35, -35, etc. That was the numbers that I used. Pretty simple, didn't do much, and then they're all under this rotation point though. So what I want you to see is if I go and rotate this rotation point, they all spin like that. So I can use that in the code. So let's look at the code for this. This is not very efficient, but I wanted to keep it simple. Okay, and I also have an animation. I thought I had an animation player. No, I don't. That's all done in code. It's easy. So the first line here is rotation point dot rotation degrees plus equals 1. You can increase or decrease that for faster speed rotation. And then all it does is reposition all of the sprites to the flames. So sprite goes to flame pos, sprite 2 goes to flame pos 2, sprite 3 goes to flame pos 3, etc. So that's it. Now you could do this if you had platforms here with static bodies on them. You could do the same thing and have a rotating Ferris wheel that the player can stand on. Now the reason I didn't just make these flames children of this is because as this rotates, then the flames would also rotate upside down as they went upside down, which is also why you wouldn't want to do it with platforms. Instead, by doing it this way and just repositioning them every frame, it's not very processor intensive. We're just assigning, kind of switching two values here, and it works really well. Now in the world, I can go ahead and this spinning, this thing here, I have organized everything here, by the way. So I've got all my traps under here, and then I've got everything kind of organized. What have we got? The flames, spinning flames. So this here, if I want to scale this up and make it bigger, I can right click on this and go editable children. And then I can select this bit, making sure that I untick that. Oh no, I do want to lock that bit. Oops, wrong one. I want to lock that one and make sure that I'm editing this one. And I can scale that up. So if I, oops, that's movement. This one here is scale. So I can scale it. If I hold shift, you'll see that it will scale them out. Now, because I'm only changing the position of those 2D points, the flames aren't going to get bigger or smaller. So I can put them here, and then if I hit play, you'll see it's still working the exact same way, but the flames are more spread out. So it works pretty well. I think that that's a cool little idea. So you can make it really tough, make it really small gap there that's just kind of spinning around. You could go ahead, go another step further, and then apply some of the stuff that you've learned with the spinning blades to this and have circle flames that move backwards and forwards. And all of it with very, very minimal amount of code. What I want to do is cover the rope video in a separate one. So I'm going to do that pretty much right after I finish recording this video. So it'll be up around the same time. And that one's a little bit longer because there is some additional code that we need to add into the player, but it's not very complex and I've marked it all out. We don't need to rewrite any code, we're just adding some additional code to it. So that will be next video, which would be number 14 if this is number 13. So I'll see you then.